Corey Graves just revealed Vince McMahon's reaction the night of the walkout, so we'll see what he had to say. We'll also see what's the latest with Roman Reigns, Elias's big return, and more. Let's start things off with Elias's return to WWE. The Elias persona and character was last seen in WWE during early summer of 2021. After his final feud had wrapped up, there were these teasers that WWE aired of Elias's name being on a tombstone with the years reading 2017 to 2021. It was quite obvious what WWE was implying with those teasers, and everyone picked up on it. It was clearly hinting at the end of Elias and possibly a repackage for him. Months upon months went by and no new information or teasers about Elias's repackage ever came out. Everything was silent. That's when the Raw after WrestleMania 38 took place and finally revealed their plans of what they were doing with Elias. Elias's new direction was having him get a haircut and fully shave his iconic beard. Elias was now referring to himself as Ezekiel, Elias's younger brother. At first, everyone thought the character change was the biggest joke ever. But thanks to a storyline with Kevin Owens losing his mind trying to prove to everyone that Elias was Ezekiel, it has definitely turned into quite the entertaining story on Raw. And it got even more interesting this week when Ezekiel confirmed that his brother Elias was making his big return next week on Raw. So this is bizarre because obviously Ezekiel is Elias. It's not humanly possible for him to play both roles at the same time or even grow out the beard in a single week. So everyone wants to know, how are they going to pull this off? Well, with some TV magic and using different ideas, WWE can easily pull this off in any direction they want. We've seen an example of one individual playing two characters at once, most recently with Bray Wyatt. There were even a few instances there where Bray Wyatt was standing in the middle of the ring while The Fiend appeared on the Titantron, giving the illusion that it was two separate people. So, similar idea for Elias and Ezekiel. Maybe they put a realistic-looking fake beard on Elias for him to come out with, and once again take on that Elias character. Some fans speculate that maybe it'll be a pre-recorded concert where the camera is constantly cutting back and forth between Elias and Ezekiel both having a conversation. Some fans think that maybe Ezekiel will be present in the ring while he's talking to a pre-recorded video of Elias. The big joke that everyone was talking about was how insane it would be if Elias and Ezekiel do end up coming out with each other at the same time. A very popular fan theory that's out there was for someone who shares a similar appearance to Elias, like Damien Sandow, for example, to come out there dressed as Elias to further mess with Kevin Owens. So there'll be an Elias concert next week on Raw, but there's so many ways that WWE can take it in. A lot of people are talking about some of the possible endgames for this story, and even the backstory behind it. Is Ezekiel truly an entire different person from Elias within the WWE universe? We don't technically have the answer to that question quite yet. There's a realistic possibility that even within the story, this is just Elias pretending to be someone else. And if that's actually the story, what made him do that? Was he not happy with his status as Elias and figured that this would be the best shot at getting a fresh start? So, if Ezekiel ever gets legitimately busted for being Elias within the story, it'll be interesting to just find out why he did all of this. But be on the lookout for Elias's apparent return next week. Sasha Banks and Naomi's walkout shocked everyone a while back, fans, and even WWE themselves. There's been a lot of rumors, reports, and speculations about what led up to the moment and what happened after. There's no real confirmed answers out there, but someone from WWE is telling their view of what happened. Raw commentator Corey Graves recently revealed his backstage interaction with Vince McMahon immediately following the edition of Raw where Sasha and Naomi walked out. Corey Graves had this to say when recalling what happened after the show. Quote, "There was a few weeks back, and you'll know what I'm alluding to, where things changed in a very drastic manner on Monday Night Raw, and I walked back through the curtain and walked up to our fearless leader, Vince McMahon, and he had a grin on his face. I said, 'Hey, it's live TV. nothing could go wrong, right? And he just laughed and shook my hand and went about his business, and that's it." End quote. So Corey Graves basically gave everyone the insight of how Vince McMahon was feeling that night. Of course, Vince McMahon and WWE had to be feeling a bit upset because they put Sasha and Naomi on blast a few times during that week. But according to this story from Corey Graves, Vince McMahon was all grins, smiles, and laughs following the situation with Sasha Banks and Naomi. What's the latest on Sasha Banks and Naomi? Well, Naomi is slowly returning to social media. Naomi is posting some videos on Twitter that are indirectly meant to relate to the walkout situation. The videos she's posting talk about how someone's happiness is the most important thing, sort of giving off the impression that she's referring to the WWE situation. As far as Sasha Banks goes, she recently appeared at an eye clinic to get a procedure done and was going by her real name of Mercedes Vernado. The clinic took a lot of pictures and videos of Sasha Banks, and fans were also quick to notice that Sasha's hair was back to being her normal color of blonde and brown. Of course, this was something we saw back in 2019. Sasha changed her hair color, went on vacations, everyone thought she was done in WWE, but she shockingly came back. So we're pretty much back at those 2019 days where Sasha has cut off all communication with WWE, and it's unknown if she'll be back or not. Of course, this 2022 situation is much more serious than Sasha's 2019 walkout hiatus. Back then in 2019, Vince McMahon told Sasha to take all the time she needs to get it right and refused to grant her the WWE release that she was requesting. This time in 2022, Sasha Banks walked out as an active champion and with big title programs on the verge of being set up around her and Naomi. So it's definitely more serious this time around. There's been non-stop reports about this being turned into a legal issue now, so no one knows where this will go. You want to stay positive and optimistic that Sasha and Naomi would return one day, but just from the looks of everything so far, they're not returning anytime soon. It just seems impossible. So the women's division will have to roll on without them. You have Bayley coming back any week now, plus little teasers like Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan teaming up, so WWE is going to have to make the most out of their women's division in the absence of these two major stars. A new report recently came out from WrestleVotes explaining WWE's decision to put both world titles on Roman Reigns. They said that WWE's intentions and original plans behind putting both titles on Roman was so that he can make regular appearances on both Raw and SmackDown. And everyone knows that hasn't been the case at all. Roman has made a few handful of appearances on Raw since WrestleMania, with none of those appearances really having any significance. He's even been on hiatus from SmackDown, and before the match with Riddle, he didn't defend the title since WrestleMania. So it looks like the decision was made because they anticipated Roman being a regular superstar for both Raw and SmackDown. But he happened to slip right into this lighter schedule right after the title win. So that did hurt both brands for not having any world champion present. Roman also revealed that he's been on a private island this entire time. Roman isn't expected to compete at Money in the Bank, so we'll see how long he sticks around for in the coming weeks. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.